Ano yung HIV sa pagkakaintindi niyo?
Sakit sa yung mga bakla, tsaka mga babaeng bayaran.
Isang sakit. Sakit na nakakamatay.
Sino po ang mga kailangang ipatest tsaka sino hindi?
For me, no discrimination. Siguro more on kasi mataas ang cases natin sa mga call center agents. Siguro sila ang dapat i-test.
Sino po mga nakakuha nito tsaka sino yung hindi?
Kalimitan yung nakakakuha talaga yung mga LGBT, ang hilig sex na walang protection.
HIV is a virus you accumulated from blood transfusion or having sex with another infected person.
Anong gagawin mo kapag ang mahal mo sa buhay o kakilala mo nagka-HIV?
Kasi kung ako takot din kasi ako kung sakali. Kasi ang sabi nila once na kahit yung dugo lang, kahit hindi ka nakikipagtalik sa kanya, kung yung dugo niya may something na tumalisik sa'yo, ganun. Ako natatakot ako pagka ganun kasi syempre hindi natin aasahan, baka one day hindi natin alam meron na rin tayo.
Sa tingin mo, may stigma or discrimination para sa mga taong may HIV?
Super, yes.
Bakit?
Kasi sa tingin nila kapag may HIV ka, mahahawa ka na, and then parang kadiri na, gano'n. Well, dapat hindi.
Hindi mo dapat pagdirihan ng isang taong meron yan. Unawain mo na lang at intindihin mo, tulungan mo. Hindi yung idadaw mo siya.
May stigma ba?
May stigma
May
ba?
stigma ba?
May stigma ba?
May stigma ba?
May stigma ba?
May stigma ba?
Yes, I'm Dr. Mike Merrigan, the Senior Technical Advisor for the Global Fund 3-year multi-country grant, the sustainability of HIV services for key populations in Asia, or as we say, the SKPA program.
My name is Ian Felix Alquiros. I'm the founder and executive director of Camp Pag-ayo Incorporated. I'm also the project manager of My Stigma Ba research project.
I am Dr. Ronivin Garcia Pagtakan. You can just call me Vin or Dr. Vin. I am the founder and executive director of LoveYourself. Before we start doing interventions, we need to be able to do risk and needs assessment. So we would know what are the needs of the community. Do they like this? Will this program be effective or will this not work at all? Is this a need or is this just a program that the development workers do?
The MSB project aims to establish more appropriate context on stigma in the Philippines. All through the years, we have been using a Western standard in terms of the definition of stigma. This is important because we have to have something to anchor our future programs on stigma and discrimination reduction.
Well, research is very important because it's how we generate new knowledge. And I think although we know a lot about HIV, what transmits it, how to prevent HIV and how to treat HIV, there's still a lot of gaps in our knowledge. And those gaps are where the opportunities are for research. So AFAO and its consortium partners, governments and technical partners look to address human rights, stigma and discrimination, pilot new community-led models of service delivery, including for PrEP, HIV self-testing, and community-based testing, and other innovative interventions which help overcome barriers and attract funding for community organizations and help, obviously, in the fight against HIV. The Philippines has a lot of data, including around stigma and discrimination. One of those important data sources is the Stigma Index, and that gives us indicators around the prevalence of stigma and different types of stigma and discrimination. However, that by itself is not sufficient in really understanding stigma and discrimination, how it manifests in people's daily lives and impacts on individuals seeking services, particularly HIV services.
Hi, my name is Gideon Bendishon. I'm the lead researcher for the project, and by training, I am a social psychology researcher. Well, I designed the research component of the MSB and I led the analysis. Ultimately, I think the goal of this and any HIV-related project is to limit the impact of HIV in the lives of people, whether that's by ensuring that people get the care they need in a timely manner so that HIV isn't able to do additional damage on the body, or by enabling people to receive the support and acceptance they need. So HIV doesn't have to be more than a medical condition, While I'm sure many people recognize HIV to be a medical condition, a dimension that is often overlooked is the social dimension. If you had dengue, for example, you would just go to the hospital, or maybe some people might struggle with finances of accessing medical care. But no one is thinking, oh my gosh, what will my neighbors think if they find out I have dengue? But with HIV, there's this whole dimension of worrying about what others will think about us if we get it, what others will think if we get tested. So mind you, not even if we test positive, just the act of getting tested, we worry about what other people will think if we get tested. And we worry about what others will think about us, even if we simply talk about it. So while all diseases have a social component, in HIV, it's particularly pronounced. Living fully isn't just about not being sick or not having symptoms, but it's about having an excellent quality of life, about being loved and accepted, about being able to choose what your life is going to be about, how you use the time given to you. And those are not possible or very difficult without a supportive social context.
So really, one of the challenges that I faced during these research projects, for my part, my internet connections.
I got COVID last month. I couldn't conduct interviews, but the team was so flexible and Gids was so understanding.
I believe my interviewers, my team members were the ones that overcame. We had people who were personally impacted by the COVID pandemic themselves and their families. And in the midst of all of that, they kept doing their work. They kept being in communication. They, requested extensions of the deadlines, and of course we granted them. But it was coming from this place of love. Many years ago, a good friend of mine on his deathbed told me that he had just found out he had HIV, and he died 2 weeks later. You see, it's not enough that people find out their status. We must find out in a timely manner. And the timeliness of it is greatly affected by social components. What other people think, what we think other people will think, how we think the test or the test results will affect our reputation and our status in our communities.
Camera 1 rolling, camera 2 rolling.
My name is Earl Figuracion. I am the devising director and the creative pedagogy consultant of MSB.
The inspiration for the culminating activity actually comes from the research itself. So my practice or my involvement in the project is to devise a set of performances that will communicate the project and will mirror the project's contents into a set of performances, and that's what devising is all about.
And in terms of who should start the conversation, it's not that we don't want to talk. Both parents and children who are part of the community, it's not that they don't want to talk. They do. They want to reach out. It's just that they don't know how to. And knowing that, why are we so scared then? I think that's the most mind-blowing thing that has opened my mind to so many things. Then maybe it just takes the courage to start.
Ang laking part ng society sa stigma. Ang laking part ng kinabuhayan mo kung saan ka lumaki, kung sino mga nakasalamuha mo. It's not really something na mapupuksa mo internally and on your own. Ang laking part ng community para sa pagbabagong magagawa natin.
Most of the time, we start with the stigma sa sarili natin. Meron tayong mga bagay na internalized na, and then minsan pinapataw lang natin siya sa ibang tao.
There's still so much to learn and unlearn din talaga how we were conditioned growing up.
It made me vulnerable and self-reflect on things.
We need a community. We need a community to rise above stigma.
So if we want to limit the impact of HIV on people, it's not just about limiting the impact on the body or on the biology of people. We have got to understand the interpersonal dimension of HIV so that we can limit the impact there as well, and hopefully enable people to live full lives, not just stamping out a virus.